Your hands are cold right now, not a little chilly cold, cold in a way that makes you tuck them under your thighs at your desk, cold in July, cold when everyone around you is comfortable. You've mentioned it to your doctor. They checked your thyroid, TSH, came back normal, and they moved on to the next patient because on paper you're fine. But your body isn't running on paper. It's running on a signal, and that signal has been telling your thyroid for months now to power down quietly, deliberately, and completely undetectable on a standard blood panel. Here's what almost nobody explains. Your thyroid gland can be producing a perfectly normal amount of hormone, and you can still be functionally hypothyroid at the cellular level. There's a name for it, non-thyroidal illness syndrome, and it doesn't show up as low T4. It shows up as your body quietly rerouting the hormone you already have into a version that does nothing. Endocrinologists call this the T3, to reverse T3 shunt. And once you understand it, every cold hand, every 3 p.m. crash, every pound that won't move starts making a different kind of sense. Think of T3 as the key that unlocks energy production inside your cells. T4 is the raw metal that key gets forged from. Under normal conditions, your body forges most of that T4 into working keys. But under a threat signal, it forges a different shape instead. Reverse T3, a key that fits the lock perfectly but doesn't turn. It just sits there, occupying the keyhole, blocking the real key from getting in. Your body isn't out of keys. It's manufacturing the wrong ones on purpose because some part of it has decided this is not a safe time to spend energy. And that's the part that changes everything. This isn't malfunction. It's a decision. Your thyroid is running a threat response protocol so old it predates language, and it doesn't care about your calendar, your goals, or your gym schedule. It only cares about one thing. Does the evidence coming in say safe, or does it say danger? Right now, for a lot of people, the evidence says danger. And there are 3 everyday patterns responsible for sending that exact message on repeat without anyone ever meaning to. The first is the chronic deficit trap. You've done the math. Calories in, calories out. You're under target every single day, and you've been proud of that consistency. But your thyroid doesn't read spreadsheets. It reads incoming energy relative to outgoing energy day after day. And a sustained gap reads as exactly one thing: famine approaching. Research into caloric restriction shows this isn't subtle. Even moderate, sustained deficits suppress the enzyme responsible for converting T4 into active T3 called deiodinase, while simultaneously increasing the reverse T3 shunt. Here's the detail that usually gets left out. That enzyme needs selenium and zinc to function, and both get depleted faster under chronic restriction, which means the conversion pathway gets starved twice, once by the calorie gap itself, and once by the missing raw materials the gap prevents you from replacing. The fix isn't eat more in some vague sense. It's specific. One deliberate higher carbohydrate, higher selenium meal, think eggs, Brazil nuts, seafood, a real portion of rice or potato, placed at the same time every single day for 2 weeks straight, not as a cheat, but as a repeated predictable signal your body can start to trust. Random abundance doesn't reverse this. Predictable abundance does. Now here's where it gets interesting, because the second trap wears a completely different disguise. It looks like health, not restriction. This is the overtraining trap, and it usually belongs to the person doing everything right. Daily cardio, early mornings, never missing a session. But chronic training without adequate recovery activates your HPA axis, the same stress circuitry that responds to actual danger, and that activation directly disrupts TSH pulsatility, the rhythmic signal your pituitary uses to keep thyroid output steady. Unlike the deficit trap, this one isn't about too little coming in. It's about too much going out with no recovery evidence to balance it. Here's the strategic detail most people never hear. Your body specifically tracks morning resting heart rate as one of its clearest recovery signals. If you train hard 5 or 6 days a week, take your resting heart rate the moment you wake up, before you move, before coffee. If it's elevated more than 5 beats above your normal baseline 2 mornings in a row, that's your body telling you the recovery evidence isn't there yet. And one full rest day, not an easy day, an actual rest day, is what closes that signal gap. Unlike the deficit trap we just covered, this fix isn't nutritional. It's about proving through measurable rest that the output was survivable. And this is the one nobody talks about, the under-recovery trap. And it might be the most common one of all, because it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like just your life right now. Poor sleep, a mind that won't switch off at night, stress with no clear edges, just a constant low hum underneath everything. That hum keeps cortisol elevated long after it should have dropped, and elevated cortisol directly blocks the peripheral conversion of T4 into T3 in your liver, your muscles, everywhere that conversion is supposed to happen outside the thyroid gland itself. This is exactly why blood work can look flawless while you feel like you're operating at 60%. The specific detail here, cortisol follows a natural rhythm that's supposed to peak in the morning and fall through the day, but chronic stress flattens that curve. And one of the clearest signals your nervous system reads as the threat has passed is a consistent light down window before bed, not a vague wind down, a specific one, the hour before sleep. Every screen at arm's length gets put away. Lights get dimmed to less than a quarter of normal brightness, and the room temperature drops a couple of degrees. That combination is one of the few evidence-backed triggers that reliably lowers evening cortisol within days, not weeks. It's not about doing more. It's about giving your nervous system one clean, repeated piece of proof that the emergency is over. If any of this is explaining symptoms you've carried for years with no real answer, stay, because here's the part that ties it together. These three traps don't operate separately. They stack. A modest deficit plus 5 hard training days plus a phone in your hand until midnight doesn't send 3 separate warning signals. It sends one unmistakable one. Not safe, conserve everything. And your thyroid, being exactly as reliable as it's designed to be, listens every time. Which means reversing this was never about intensity or willpower. It's about repetition. Your body doesn't believe a single good day. It believes a pattern, the predictable meal, the measured rest day, the same dark, cool hour before bed, night after night. That's not self-care in the vague sense people throw around. That's data. That's the specific evidence your thyroid has been waiting for before it agrees it's safe to speed back up. Your thyroid was never broken. It's been running triage this entire time, deciding in real time what deserves energy and what doesn't, executing survival code that kept people alive through actual famines long before any of us were here. It's not failing. It's idling, waiting for proof. And once that proof arrives consistently, it doesn't take a miracle to restart it. It just takes the signal finally getting through. So tell me, which one is yours? The cold hands, the crash that hits at almost exactly the same time every afternoon, the training you can't seem to recover from, or the nights where your mind just won't let go? Drop it below. And if it's the sleep one, stay close, because there's a second piece of this nobody's covered yet. What actually happens to your thyroid overnight, and why the hour you go to bed might matter more than how many hours you get. That's next.